Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Colin, call sign MM0PX, and in this video I just want to take a little overview at this. This is the Spiderbeam 10m travel pole. Now I do have a couple of previous videos on my channel where I've talked a little bit about this, so probably repeating myself just a little bit, but it wasn't in particular about this pole. But I think that this pole certainly deserves a video of its own. If you follow my stuff or you follow me on social media, you'll know that I've got a bit of a thing for fiberglass poles and quality fiberglass supports. My collection's on, I think I'm up to 13 fiberglass poles, so I can't stop on 13. I really need to get one more at least, and this is actually the latest variant that I have bought. I wanted something that was just a little bit shorter even for putting in the car, and you know, this really fits the bill. So I already have two of these. This is the Spiderbeam 12m HD, so I have two of these already, as I said, but they are quite long. Fantastic pole, and they've got their uses, but sometimes I just want to have a 10m pole, but I just don't want something that is quite as long or just quite as heavy. So what we'll do is we'll do a few comparisons, and hopefully I'll maybe make your mind up whether you may want to buy one. And I did pay for this pole. I bought all my poles and paid full price. So I think what we'll do is we'll weigh this pole, and we'll do a little comparison with the 12m. So I just happen to have a scale here. It's not the greatest kitchen scale, but that will do, digital scale. So what we'll do is we'll measure in metric first. So that's about 2.2 kilos. Yeah, 2.212, something like that. It will vary ever so slightly. And in imperial, that is £4, 14.6 ounce. So there you go. If you're over in the States, maybe that makes a bit more sense. And in comparison to the 12m, that is £6, 12.5 ish, and in metric it is it's nearly almost, that's actually a little bit over 3.1 kilos, something like that. So there is over a kilo saving in this, but you know, they're for different things. So that's the weight. Length, you know, you can get these specs off the website, but it's always nice to see them in person. So for the Spiderbeam, so including the rubber cap, they've got these similar rubber caps like they have on the 12m. But on the bottom end, these are a bit different. They actually have a screw cap, which is a bit different and a bit nice. And just before I do that, see inside this cap here, there's actually some foam. And what that's great for is if your pole accidentally collapses, it's not going to shatter. With all my poles, I actually put a little bit of rag or sponge or something. So I've put that in anyway, but I actually put that in and I didn't realise till the next time I had it off that they'd already implemented this. So that's really handy. We'll just screw that back on. I think Spiderbeam said they were about 70 centimeters. So what I'm measuring is exactly 714 mil. So there we go. So will it fit in your suitcase? Well, you'll need to measure that, but it would certainly fit in my big suitcase and ideal for going in the car. And you want to compare that to the 12m. That is 1195. Now, one thing that I'm not keen on the Spiderbeams for, and I think that the 10m rubber cap's going to suffer the same. Now, I've not had this that long. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that cracking? So that's my only gripe with the Spiderbeam pole. Looking at the number of sections, now I counted these previously, and there is including the bottom, there is 17 sections. And if you look at that, what range it goes from, Holly. So 59.24, and again I can change this into old money. So 2.336 inch. So that is bigger than the Spiderbeam, and that is only 2.142 or 54.5 millimeters. So as I said, 17 sections in total, 59.25 OD, and that actually goes down to, it's actually a bit smaller than the 12 meter. So it goes down to this little section here, and I measure that at 6.7 millimeters or 0.263 inch. So this pole's actually, it's ideal for supporting structures, but what I've been doing with it is I've actually been removing a few sections, and if you do that you can actually support reasonably heavy structures. That's what I like about this pole, that it provides that bit of flexibility. And if we look at actually the wall thickness, so the tip, so we're getting 30 thou, so that's just less than a millimeter, 0.75, and on the bottom section 1.3 millimeters or 50 thou. And I don't think I have all the sections in my 12 meter, because I usually, yeah, I don't have the tip section, but on the bottom section 62 thou or 1.6. So I think that was about 0.3 thicker on the 12 meters, but it is a bit more heavy duty. But don't let that put you off. It is much the, I would say it's much the same strength of pole, obviously, because the diameter is just a little bit thinner. You just have to bear that in mind, but it's still a heavy duty pole, and if you compare it to any other 10 meter pole on the market, this is probably your most, I think this is probably going to be heavy duty or stronger than those. As with all my other Spiderbeams, they come from the factory, and they have this it's quite a sticky coat in it. I'm assuming it's from the molds when they mold they mold these, and a little bit sticky, and it's almost like a silicon oily coating that's on them. So I actually like to take that off them, and it actually makes them, when you pull them out to extend it, it actually sticks just that little bit better. So on the 12 meter Spiderbeam pole, you can see that I employ this system for guying. Because the pole is nearly 1.2 meters long, I use a couple of these hose clips, Jubilee clips as we call them, doubling up with this paracord type material, and I basically guy it out like this. And quite often I only ever guy it at the bottom of the pole. And this is actually an idea I got from Tracy from Outdoors on the Air. So he used to put his Spiderbeam poles in a tube in this kind of method, but I just put it right onto the pole. There's not a lot of crush, a lot of strength on this, and if you can see, there's actually nitrile rubber in there. So the hose clamp is not actually clamping the cord onto the pole. It's only to stop it from coming off. Now, because the 10 meter is just that little bit smaller, I could guy it here, and I did try that, but you're just so close to the ground. So I actually employ a similar method, and what I'll do is I'll actually show you that when I set up the pole. I'll show you that later. But what I like to do is I like to clamp at the top of the second section, and then if you compare it to the 12 meter, we're actually guying at much the same point. So depending on what you're wanting to support, quite often you could support it just at the bottom, 3 guy wires, and you don't need to support it further up, unless of course you're maybe installing it permanently. You know, that would be up to you. We know a thoroughly a really good pole. Spiderbeam, you know, deserve a lot of credit for coming out of this, coming out with this. A really fantastic piece of kit. It's not just for travelling, so I wouldn't just say it's a travel pole. If you want a heavy duty pole for you know, permanent use, you know, you could do worse than look at this. As for the price, I'm not saying it's the cheapest. I think it was £70 here. I bought it from Nevada here in the UK. There was £10 postage, so that was £80, just a whisker under £80 delivered, tax included. I think in the States they're about $70-ish, as I understand. I think you'll have your local taxes on top of that and shipping, so maybe by the time taxes on top of it, you might be much the same or slightly cheaper. But I do advise you to, you know, you can buy cheap, buy twice, or you can buy this. And the good thing with Spiderbeam is you can buy the spare sections. There's not a lot of other manufacturers you can do that with. So if you do happen to break a section, you're going to get that Spiderbeam support as backup. So not sure what else to say. You know, it's a fiberglass pole. It's a very good pole. So I think what I should do is we should set it up, and we'll let you see that. It's literally taken me no more than 5 minutes to set this mast up, and it really, when you see it up, it is a fair height. We're lucky tonight, we're going through a bit of a heat wave and it's just unbelievably calm. But I would guy it like this normally if I was just running a wire up it. So you can see what I've done here for the guying. So from the first section to the second section, this hose clamp with the PVC tube, this is just to stop the second section collapsing into the bottom section. And I've used a similar method just with the hose clamp and the PVC pipe. And this rope that I'm using, this is Mastrant M. This is the expensive stuff. This is 3mm, I think it is. But this is like the almost like the top of the range stuff that Mastrant does. Unbelievably strong. So I bought myself 100 meters of that. And along with those, I'm using, these are line lock clam cleats. And basically these are absolutely rock solid, and I actually use these to tension all the wires, and it allows me to tension them all individually, and I can get the pole absolutely straight. And I just have some cheap, these are just aluminium tent pegs into the ground. So yeah, so that's the pole up. As I say, that's what I've done so far. I could potentially, I have actually got a guy ring to fit around here that can sit on top of here, so I may do that yet. But this works. So if I can put this up and give it a shake, can you see that? I mean, I'm giving that a serious shake, and the pole is really rigid. So, you know, I can't really say enough about this pole. Will it suit everyone? Probably not, but I think you would have a use for it. You know, you have to make up your own mind. But you know, I think I'm going to get a lot of use from this pole. I'll probably not use the first 3 or 4 sections, and I'll put my linear loaded adjustable wave on it, and that will let me work for 40 meters on down, and that will give me a really sturdy, solid support. I hope the video's been of some use to you. Maybe make your mind up whether you want to buy this pole or you don't. Do I see myself buying more? Probably not at the minute. You know, I have other poles that I've got multiples of. For example, I'm doing phased verticals. Would I use this pole for it? No, I have other poles for that. But I bought this pole for actually to go on holiday, and I didn't actually make it to take it on holiday as planned. Just how things went. But certainly on future holidays, this will be the antenna support that goes with me for sure. Because our car, we know it's going to be jam-packed with stuff, all the family gear, children's toys. So this is the pole that will be going with me, along with one of my antennas and my ICOM IC705. Okay, as I said, I hope this video has been of some use and helped you decide whether you want to buy one of these antennas or not. So until the next video, 73.